And welcome to episode 19 of the Throwback Guitar Lounge podcast. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a stupendous weekend. Where in this episode, we will discuss not only the present day, but we will discuss and look into a crystal ball and look at the future.
The future of what?
Well, how AI is going to either help you or ruin your life.
So at Throwback, we have an eye, just from the name of the company, we have an eye, obviously, on the best of the past, bringing that to the present, but we also have an eye on the future and what it holds and what the best of that is. And we're going to talk about that today.
We're not afraid to embrace new technology.
We're foreseeing the future in this episode. We're going to talk about in the Guitar Argument, and that's the AI band takeover. We don't believe anyone else has talked about the AI band takeover. In fact, the subject will be AI taking over my blues band in 3 years.
Or less. There's some people who think it maybe some people believe in this exponential effect of AI that it's going to come even faster. They'll say 3 years, but it's actually going to be here even quicker.
We think it's going to be an interactive part of your band. Another musician. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about that. Or we've asked the best minds in the world on this about this subject, the ones that should know.
We scoured the earth literally,
and
dug
they
up
say
every piece
3
of
years, and usually these things go faster than that.
That's my point.
We're going to talk about this in the Guitar Argument, but first, Matthew, we're going to do something else here. You've what do you got?
I've got 2 pieces of mail and in one piece of news, but 2 related items in the mailbag. In the news bag, sorry.
Throwback mailbox. Oh, it says you've morphed the mailbox with the news bag.
I put them together. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll call it the throwback mailbox this time. But okay, what do you have in store for us?
Okay, so going back to last episode, in episode 18, we talked about we debated, is intonation an important thing to your guitar tone? So we had very, very strong reaction.
We did, actually.
By our viewers who responded.
I was kind of anticipated. People are passionate about intonation.
What was interesting about it, some people made comments where they couldn't tell the difference between, because we had one guitar, if you go back to look at that episode, we had one guitar intonated, one that wasn't. I couldn't tell the difference. I thought the one people wanted to know exactly how many cents off it was.
Oh, really? I don't know, but I can tell you it was way off.
It was way off?
It was way off, yeah.
And go ahead. And
it wasn't a little off, but go ahead.
So, but people had a very strong reaction to it, and they also complimented us because they felt, one person said, I don't think anyone else has covered this topic. So then we felt
breaking new ground.
We thought can't stop. That's why we came up with today's issue of AI.
That's right. New ground with intonation. Now this is like, I don't think anyone's talked about this.
I haven't heard it.
I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
We've heard Rick Beato talk about how great AI is at making sort of a pop artist in an instant, that with a profile photo and everything, and a song produced, finished song written, and it sounds good.
But he's talking about kind of recorded music.
Yes.
Something you'd listen to on Spotify or something.
Yeah, but we're talking about what's the logical extension of this. It's that it's a member of the band. And it's not just regurgitating what you tell it to. It's an interactive member that is fussing like everybody else in the band.
It has to be placated and its ego has to be smooth.
That's right.
Then it walks out.
Yeah, walks out. Has enough of that. Yeah.
Then you have to coax it back.
Yeah. Okay, that's later in the show. But again, with what do we got next in this intonation breakthrough we had?
Well, no, it was just people found it to be a good episode. They enjoyed it.
Okay, good.
So the second piece of mail was going to your how are we calling it? Was it player grade vintage? So
yes.
So
and we have another. I will show another player grade vintage guitar this episode as well.
So this viewer made a comment where he said, "I want that 85 Strat that you were showing last week," and he said, "And I'm not a Strat guy per se, although I love the tone and history, and I never thought I'd wanted one. but I was wrong.
Yes.
And then he says, "P.S. Please don't tell my wife." So we
Well,
won't do
okay.
that.
So now I really like those, and I am probably I want every color of an either 85, 86, or 87 Fullerton spec Strat.
That's a vintage reissue.
That's vintage reissue, yeah. And I'm not quite there yet. So I'm hesitant to say why I like these guitars, but I will tell the throwback Guitar Lounge audience. One is I really like the pickups in them, and I because I'm quite sure they still use USA made Allen & Co. And I can hear the difference. And I like if I had my choice of a vintage Strat, like a very expensive one, a 65 or 64, I would really like, but I can't afford that. But the pickups in these Fullerton era Strats, kind of transitional Fullerton to Corona, they're machine wound, USA made magnets. They're not quite the same as a 65 or 64, but they're of that sort of same ilk tonally. And I mean ilk in the best way possible.
just to reiterate, so you're saying when the factory moved from Fullerton, California to Corona, California.
Yes. So the specs of those 85, 86, 87 are still Fullerton spec in terms of body contours and the pickups. And a 65, 64 is also a machine wound plain enamel pickup in a 64, 65 Strat, actually in later 60s too. And those of the vintage ones I played, those are my favorites. They're a little more powerful because they're machine wound. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
And when did they go to Corona? You think?
There's a debate about that. Some say it's 86. Some say it's 85. So 85 ones, 85 Strats from this era, from that area, actually have a little bit of a premium over an 86. But I don't know the exact date. But I just know that the body contours, the necks, the pickups are all in the same range of features and characteristics, 85, 86, 87. So anyway, don't go out and buy those. I want to get all the colors I want.
Well,
first.
you could ask the throwback viewers.
Also, they're a great deal right now.
Sure, but you could ask the throwback viewers to go out and look for them. They could be
I'm
your
not
eyes
gonna-
on the eyes
I'm
on the
not going
ground.
to tell what colors I want left because
Well, they want to help you.
No, well,
You don't think so?
yeah, no. But they might want to. Well,
If you have one,
if you have one, just
contact us.
yeah, sure. Tell me that's a better way to do it, and then tell me what color it is. But okay, I digress.
Okay.
Is that it for the?
That's it for the
mailbox
or mailbox. And I have a news item or two news items, but it involves the same person. So
Okay.
I did a little search yesterday, and I said, is anything going on in the guitar world? And I found this that I thought was interesting, that Andy Summers, ex-guitarist of the Police, is going to start a new travel docu-series
Okay.
called Global Guitar, and he's going to travel the globe and examine how the guitar has impacted
Okay.
the world and various cultures.
Will he
and-
start with the Spanish Moors? Because I think that's the origin of the
Oh, really?
guitar, is the Arab influence. There's some Arab guitar-like instrument that morphed into the guitar. The
What year?
Moors. I don't know. I don't know what year that
Okay.
is going to be. Is it 1300s?
I remember going as a kid.
1200? I don't know.
I can remember going as a kid to in Toronto, the Royal Ontario Museum, and seeing, it must have been a lute, and thinking, what the heck is that? Like, I knew what a guitar
Yeah.
was, but I think, this stuff goes way back. So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Lutes used to be lutes used to be hanging on the wall in barbershops when the lute was the thing.
in barbershops
like, in Europe, in England, they would be like while you're hanging around. It was sort of the guitar of the day. Like a
Interesting.
dude could play the lute while he's waiting around to get
maybe
a bloodletting.
you do it an little
Yeah.
entertaining.
Again, I digress. So, but
That's interesting.
Yeah.
There you go. See. So anyway, this show is supposed to start filming in February of next year, and it sounds interesting. So I thought I'd just bring that up. And then he's also involved in.
Will he be shopping for lawyers to sue Sting on the way?
Well, that's the second part of the news that
He's traveling the world to see to find the best lawyer to get money out of Sting for Every Breath You Take.
Right, that's the news that he's suing Sting with Stuart Copeland, the drummer of the Police, for back royalties, for arranger royalties for Every Breath You Take.
I do like Andy Summers' interview with Rick Beato. It's actually
that's a good interview.
Yeah, it's a very good interview. Seems like a amiable, interesting guy.
Yeah, I think
I would think it would be. Also, he has a photography sort of background, hobbyist background.
Yeah, he's
so
published.
it's probably going to look really good if it's a travel log sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, remember a couple of years ago at NAMM, he had that custom shop.
Oh, that's right.
Strat that was wrapped in photographs.
Yeah, that was actually kind of odd, wasn't it?
That's kind of.
It's kind of cool, but it's like. I guess it's cool for
it's
him.
a collector thing.
Yeah.
You're just going to put that on a wall somewhere. But he's quite busy. And then I think it just comes to mind too, I believe he is on tour this fall in the United States, maybe in other countries as well. But he does these little sort of theater tours.
Yeah. Does he have sort of like an electronic backing?
I don't know. I've never seen him.
I think I have seen it. It's sort of like electronic, where he has a back. I think when I saw he had like a backing track or system.
I've listened to a couple of, he'll do Police era songs, but he's reinterpreted them.
Yeah.
And if you go to Spotify and look him up, these interesting versions of these songs, so.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for the news.
Okay. Well, then we will go right on now to the player grade vintage, Matthew.
Oh, good.
So I will set up this. Again, player grade vintage is my. I am relating my, and for the viewing audience, it might find this helpful. My strategies to get a vintage guitar that is quote unquote affordable, and sort of my criteria for this has been in the past and present is that I want to get something that is in the price range. Not more than a custom shop Fender or Gibson similar equivalent guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a Murphy Lab Gibson guitar, or it could be a historic reissue guitar, or it could be a custom shop Strat or guitar Fender, or it could be a sort of like a group built custom shop. Or a vintage reissue. But anyway, you get the idea. So get something vintage that's in the price of what you would get the sort of new reproduction of. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, obviously you can't do this one for one. Like, you're not going to find a vintage 62 Strat for the price of a reissue. But you can kind of do this if you're flexible. Okay, so the guitar that the other is the strategies for getting this. And one of the strategies I have employed is, I will call it the orphaned guitar. So this would be a guitar.
Are these abandoned at the side of the road?
No. Well, maybe
free?
they could be. Maybe that's how they were found to begin with. But you'll see this on Guitar Center sometimes.
Okay.
It'll be a guitar that you've seen listed, and then it's gone. You're hanging around for the price to drop on it on their used section, mm-hmm. and it's gone. But then it reappears in some other state's Guitar Center, right? And could happen repeatedly.
Yeah, I've done that.
So the likelihood there's some sort of issue with it, right? So it's a little bit of a risk, but it's a negotiating. It's a negotiating gambit. Would that be the right term. But so
Tool, negotiating.
So you
Yeah,
can
I
kind of factor this into the possibility of getting a great deal on the guitar. Well, you used to see these on eBay when it was an auction site. So this guitar, and sometimes you see it on Reverb too. But the guitar I'm going to show had been auctioned on eBay. This is years ago, and it sold at auction, and then it appeared again, and then it sold again, and then it appeared again. And I would have been following this because I wanted one of these guitars, and it was obvious to me that what was happening is the initial listing didn't show everything that would have been questionable to its value. And then the next listing showed a little bit more of what it would have driven the price down in an auction setting for this. So I figured there's probably more that this guy's not showing, so I'll give him a call. And I made him an offer on the guitar, essentially. And I even figured that even when I get it, there'll be something else he didn't tell me about. And I was right, but I still ended up getting a good deal on the guitar. So I will show it right now. You ready, Matthew?
Drum roll, please.
Okay, hold on. Here it comes.
Got to put the.
Oh, I gotta actually turn the audio on there for. Oh, there it is.
We didn't get the full effect of the drum roll.
No, I kind of. It's an anticlimactic drum roll, wasn't it? Okay.
But here's the guitar.
This is Matthew. This is a 1967 Epiphone Riviera, right? Okay, I'll put the headstock over there. It's got the big sort of Epiphone headstock. And at the time, I had a rule, and I don't remember how long ago this was. Was this maybe 10 years ago, would you say?
I can't remember when you got it.
But I had a rule at the time that if sort of for a semi-hollow like this Gibson made, I would not pay more than $2,000 for it. Sometimes that would mean, like for an ES335, it'd have no pickups. Actually, it always meant that. But it usually also meant that you had to get a narrow nut. Well, it actually always meant you had to get a narrow nut. But I'm fine with that because I learned on a 1967 J45, which has a narrow nut. So this seems totally normal to me.
When does the narrow nut start then?
65, I believe.
65?
Right when the Chrome hardware started,
Okay.
it quickly went to the narrow nut. And the narrow nut's really not that much different than a Fender nut, but the wider nut is preferred. So that's another, with the Gibson product, thing you can do to get a better price is the narrow nut stuff is cheaper. Okay, so let me we'll do a picture of the entire, well, a little bit better. Now, as you can see, Matthew, this actually is in pretty good shape.
Very good shape, sure.
From initial appearances, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you saw that in an eBay listing, you'd be like, "Wow, that looks pretty good," right?
You may even suspect it was refinished, but
it's not refinished. Well, it's not refinished, but it does have. I'll tell you the things that it did, the seller did not initially mention, and that was that the tuners, although they are the original Kluson style tuners here, they on the back you can see that they had Shaler tuners that had been drop filled.
Okay.
The remnants of that. Not a big deal, but if you're buying it at a price that someone doesn't show that, well, you might send it back. Another thing that it was not initially listed is that the bridge here, although it's an original Tune-O-Matic bridge, chrome and everything, mm-hmm. With the posts on an actual bridge, someone, if you look closely, and you won't see it in the photograph here, but you can see it has been filled with a lacquer stick to fill in the posts of what had been a Nashville bridge steel post anchor. So that wasn't divulged in the first listing either. And so it was in the second.
it wasn't the same. Okay.
It was in the second. And so when I called the guy, so I thought like this guy's going to have a hard time selling it at this point. It's been up there twice. Anyone looking at these things is going to be like, very suspicious. So I asked him if I could call him. He gave me this number. I called him, and he said that I asked him why it had been sent back, and he said that the last person he sold it to said that it had broken headstock, and that it didn't. But he had said that it had a broken headstock repair. Well, I could tell from the photos that it was highly unlikely that it had a broken headstock. So I did believe him on this, but I thought like he's making something up. Perhaps I should just make him an offer, expecting that there's going to be something else that he hasn't told me about when I get this thing that may be a problem. And by problem, I mean, something that's enough of a difference that it may drive the value of the guitar down. So I did that. He accepted the offer, and when I got it, there were other things that he didn't tell me about. And one was the volume pots here. Let's see if I can get that in the shot. Were not original, and he had replaced them with a solid shaft pot and drilled out some reproduction knobs that he jammed on there. So minor thing, but needed to be fixed. Still had the original Black Beauty capacitors. And so I had to get a couple of original knobs to make that kind of back to spec and replace the pots. And the other detail was it had been refretted, but when you look at it closely, and you may not see this either, but let's see. Matthew, I'll put that in front of her. Well, you can't really quite tell from there. The fingerboard's not quite planed, but it's like, I don't even know if I would call it scalloped. Someone had scraped down in between the frets enough that it's thinned out the inlays just a little bit and made it ever so slightly curved, which I don't know why the heck they would do it, but it's something you would want to know if you were buying it as a possible collectible. And he didn't divulge it either, but still I got it at a price that was good. And the other thing was the neck pickup had been wax potted. He didn't tell anybody about that. Maybe that's not a big deal.
So my question is, each time that he relisted it, was he lowering the price?
A little bit, not a ton though.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it had the introductory bid was a little lower, and I think when I contacted him, there wasn't a bid at all, and it had been up a little bit. Anyway, I got it, and in my hope to get every Gibson-made guitar of 1967, my birth year, it's been a nice addition.
Nice.
And it plays great. There's not really anything wrong with it, but it does fit into that player grade category because of these little issues. Should we play it, Matthew?
I had a question. So if someone was looking for something like this, do you have a way of calculating
what it's going to cost?
Well, give me an example of something that you learned about that it had some other work done. How much of that do you say, okay, that's worth 5% less, that's worth 10% less than he's asking?
Yeah, I see. Since I do the work myself on this stuff, the only thing I wouldn't do would be like a headstock break or something that was really bad. And I wouldn't buy one that was in need of a repair for headstock unless I thought I could fix it. But that's the other thing. If you're going to do this and you can do the work,
right,
then you're willing to accept a bit more as far as problems.
But in terms of coming in your mind, like offering a price, is there any kind of method you use to?
Well, generally, if it's a neck break,
yeah, that's good.
It's going to cut the price in half.
At least half.
And a refinish. I generally don't buy a refinish, but I don't know what the rules are with that. With like a fender, you often see refinish fenders, which is often too, well, potentially they're hiding a fake with the refinish.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might cut it in half too, but I'm not really sure on that. But No, usually when I think of it, I think of like, well, what's the cost of the parts? I think of myself, what would the cost of the parts be if I wanted to put original parts back on it? Because the original parts back on it does increase the value,
Right.
Disproportionately. But and the other part of the player grade vintage tactics are, I always have in mind what parts I might want for future guitars. So I have a collection of parts and pieces that might end up on a guitar if I see a good deal on it. With over the years, it's like, oh, that bridge, I might need that for something, or these knobs, So, but you kind of have to have a long view of what might come your way, so that when it shows up, you can act quickly. There was one other thing I was going to say about this. I've drawn a blank. But would you like to? Can we
I'm
play
sure
it?
people want to hear it.
Okay,
Sure.
let's play it. Let's set that up, and we'll be right back. Okay, are you ready? Okay, we're back. Matthew's played a little bit there.
You know what that is? You can look that up on YouTube. Look this.
Oh, you're doing Rorschach riffs, or that's.
If you can look it up on
Teenage
YouTube.
Wasteland, obviously.
Yeah, you can look that up. If you look up John Entwistle or the Who isolated bass track, that's on YouTube. You can
Okay.
I think it's from the.
And he's really hitting the strings.
No, he's got a lot of, and as his career went on, I think that's from the Won't Get Fooled Again. No, Are the Kids All Right movie. They did that at the Shepperton Studios, and then he just increased more and more distortion. Because he said he didn't play bass; he played bass guitar.
Yeah.
And then he would just trying to outdo Pete with his hit. Oh shoot!
You almost tumbled over your water there, Matthew. Okay, I remembered what I was going to say. I was going to say what the price is for this guitar currently, right? So, go back to that. So, if you were to get these, appear to be somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000 now. So, This is the upside of getting a player grade guitar, is that I got it a while ago.
They're worth a lot more now.
And so maybe this is out of reach. I don't know, but I don't know, what is a Murphy Lab? They don't make one of these exactly, but it it's not way off the mark. If you're going to get a Murphy Lab, what are those going for? $4,000 or $5,000? I really don't know.
No. The Murphy Labs, I think, are over between 8 and 12.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's still in that window. If you're considering something that's really relict, through play wear over the years, and one that's relict very well by the Murphy Lab. So yeah, it still fits into that category, and it's going to go up unless no one plays guitar after AI takes over. If AI kicks us out of our band like we're anticipating. But okay, that's the dystopian
segment.
future that we'll talk about in a moment. Okay, I'll play real quick here. And again, Matthew, supposedly, and I've seen this, but we had a guy that used to work here, had an Epiphone Sheraton that he said was like the Nashville guitar for a time. Epiphone Sheraton is the fancied up version of this.
Does the Sheridan have the mini, or does it have that?
It has the mini humbuckers
too.
So, and you can see sort of Nashville, sort of country TV show appearances with either a Riviera or a Sheraton.
From what period? From the
60s? 60s?
Late 60s then.
So I'll play the neck. That's clean. Here's the middle. Nice.
Nice. That's the neck?
That's the middle.
That's middle. That's
nice and sort of chimey. bridge.
Do I
Nah, I got
dare
the tone rolled back a little
roll
bit
back?
there.
Do I dare see if you can play your
Oh, my
Nashville licks on that thing?
Oh, by the way, I should credit this. I think it's a Maverick song. I think it's a solo from a Maverick song.
I'm curious.
I don't remember which one it was.
I've got a bunch of their records.
I had a friend that used to share the photo space with me,
He liked them.
and he had the CD. And I
Used to
heard
listen
it,
to
and I thought, like, that's a cool solo. I want to try to figure that out. And I eventually did.
Yeah, they're on my list to see, the Mavericks. I'd like to go see them. I've never seen them.
Okay, and I think the guitar player for them was maybe he still is a studio musician. You know, unfortunately, I wish I could tell you his name right now, but I don't know it. Okay, maybe someone can put that in the comments with a little dirt. Okay, there. I got to figure out that microphone muting business.
That little jam was brought to you by
Well, they're all Epiphones,
They're all
aren't
two
they?
Epiphones. There you go.
Yes, this is the 1963 Newport Deluxe and a 1967 Epiphone Riviera.
And if people don't know it, this is a rare instrument, right?
I think it's like I think there's like 89 of them that were made, or it's like 60. Like it's way less than 100 of those that were made. So very cool bass. Okay, let's put these away. Maybe a drum roll is in order. You think, Matthew?
Yes, after all that.
All right. Okay, well, I'm back. Matthew's still putting the bass up there and settling back down for the guitar argument.
It feels like there should be some sort of a trapeze acrobatic
With the
stunt when you hit that, because it's not the drum roll, it's a timpani, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's a bit more epic than a drum roll. A drum roll would be a snare, wouldn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Generally, that's okay. So we're gonna go on now. Oh, I skipped ahead to the cool down, Matthew. We'll go to the guitar argument.
No, we can't skip the guitar argument.
And again, Matthew, do you want to set up the guitar argument? You've done sort of the important legwork for setting this up.
Well, I think you might have brought it in. I don't know, but
Well, I mentioned it as something like, everybody's talking about, so, there's no shortage of videos on YouTube, rightfully so, about sort of the incredible aspects of AMP modeling and the advancement of it to the point where even the cheapest one is really quite good, right? So it's less about. It's now becoming less about the quality of it in terms of sound, and more about the platform you choose to use, right? So, what is the next logical thing that is going to be technologically driven for guitar that will impact guitar sales and that will impact the popularity and enjoyment of guitar? And we thought about this, and we quickly came to the conclusion it's AI as a member of the band. And we're not talking about just like a cool backing track that you can get on demand. We're talking about an interactive AI musical agent that will, in real time, play along with the band, improvise with you, and
respond to
cues, maybe offer its own cues,
tempo changes.
And what will that mean for the future? And there's two possibilities with this. And you're thinking with this, Matthew, one is the dystopian.
Yeah, we're going to enter, let's say, cold, sterile AI sort of megaverse of just hell.
Yeah.
It's gonna if the music's gonna lack soul. It's just gonna be.
It'll suck it'll suck the essential human aspect of it out of it, and leave you with an empty shell of what once was. Or the other is that it solves the problem that many people have. It's a daunting task if you're kind of enthusiastic about guitar and you want to play with other people in a band context. It's not always easy to find people that can do it just geographically with you, or that are available when you're available. But you want all sorts of things. Well, like the kind of music you like, have the equipment available to do it, even have a place to do it. Like have a basement where you can practice, and the wife won't scream at you, and the neighbors won't call the police, and you won't feel humiliated every time the guys come over.
Well, in the real future, you won't even need your basement. It'll all be just done in your head.
Oh, yes, that's right. So the other part of this is, what does AI facilitates this in a way that nothing else could, in preparation for a real band. And maybe that real band incorporates AI, and that alone, that opens up the universe to people that, in a way that is not easily done, as easily done now as it could be with an AI band member. Okay, so which are you taking, the dystopian future, Matthew?
I'm against it.
You're against it. And I am going to be that this is going to be super, super, super exciting and great for everybody involved in the near future. Okay, and the near future, you have actually asked the premier AI authority on this, and it said 3 years.
It said 3 years. This is coming,
and
so the countdown is on.
And these things seem to run faster than that. Okay, 5 minutes starting now, Matthew. Okay. You go.
So the con case, the reason why we shouldn't be going for this, and the problem is, even if it's going to happen, even if we don't want it to happen.
There's no stopping it, is there?
The problem is, it's going to lack the immediacy of what happens in a band. The best part of a band is the interaction between human people when they're giving and taking, and you're maintaining eye contact, you're watching for cues, you're doing subtle little changes in the music,
or they're making mistakes.
That's part of music,
that's
though.
right.
So you make a mistake, and as some people say,
no. So I maintain that this will be, you will choose your level of skill with something like this. You will actually even choose the level of perfection that the AI bandmate will do. Go on, Matthew.
Okay. So then you've got the human element is going to be pulled out of it, and then you've got all sorts of other things that are going on in it. Now you're dealing with computing power, and you may be dealing with Wi-Fi access. So all it's going to take is one little tiny glitch, and I know about little glitches. Sometimes it can happen, and it's all going to come crashing down. So you're playing a venue, you're being paid, say it's a wedding gig, or you're playing at a bar, and you're paying, things go down. All of a sudden, it's like people are going, "What is going on?" And you're going to get canned from the gig because it's like,
no, someone will say, "Let me get my iPhone. I got a band on there."
That's a possibility, but
wait, no, I'll play with my band, and they'll just walk up with their iPhone. Yeah.
So
they'll clap.
So then you've got that aspect of that's where it's going to be like very sort of sophisticated, high end karaoke, and it's not a live interactive band.
I think you got it all wrong. You got it all wrong. You're thinking of something that replays stuff. I'm not talking that.
Okay.
We're talking about a AI musician that real time reacts to, knows the material to whatever degree you want it to be perfect. It will react to the other musicians playing, and it will. So your premise is here, Matthew, that this will be an oppressive force rather than a incredible tool of teaching.
Yeah,
right, Matthew. So
I'm contending there won't be the give and take.
You're maintaining that the laziness of humans will shine through, and even though there's this incredible
it's the dominance of the machine will shine through and crush.
So even though, see, I think I have the optimistic view of this. The power of having a tailored a musician of high skill that you can tailor to your interest in music will be an incredible teaching tool and will prepare people for the possibility of the AI musician going kaput. So if you're in a situation like that, it's like, okay, unless the AI band's doing the whole thing, you have a better real band at the end of the day, because let's also think of it in terms of these terms, Matthew. Let's say we've got a gig at a pizza joint, Matthew, and you can't make it.
That's happened.
But we want our $100. So
you've got someone you can
now we can be like, hey,
we can still take.
We'll
that gig.
have Bob, the AI bass player, do it, and we'll keep his cut.
Okay, do you think
we'll have $125?
But
wow.
Do you think that's what's going to happen, or do you think it's like they're going to look up on stage? Well, there's only 2 people up there, so are people still going to be making the same amount of money?
Oh, that could be. It could be. Yeah, no. I've given up on making any money at a gig. It's been $100 for like 20 years now.
So if it's 2 people now, instead of
totally nuts.
4 or 5, it's going to be $200. So you're still going to be taking home $80 to $100.
Yeah, or the AI, like you give it to its favorite electronic charity.
Yeah.
Oh, think of it. This too, because you have bars that don't want you to play covers.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's say the gig is. Let's say the gig is, hey, Bob AI,
Go to the cool down, so we'll.
we're going to do an Eagles show, but we can't play an Eagles tune.
So be Eagle like.
Give me something that sounds just like Life in the Fast Lane, but won't get me in copyright trouble, and we'll practice that.
Is that what that one band did on?
So I guess that everything will
Rick
turn into
Beato band?
elevator music.
That sounded. It was supposed. Was it a variation of it? It sounded like the title was very close to "Dust in the Wind" by Kansas, but it's on that.
Was it?
I don't know if there was a connection there. Where is this stuff supposed to be modeled after?
That must be happening already.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe the real impact of this is that it makes copyright, music copyright, go, even harder. Well, I mean, guess everything's going to be copyrighted, but maybe it makes the cover go away. Maybe the cover becomes even more popular. I don't know, but
there's a lot of that music out there. I know. Obviously, Rick Beato's got stuff there, but there's a lot of AI music right now.
Yeah, but well, the thing is, it's getting better, like exponentially, right? So the next thing is, I maintain. Do we agree on this, Matthew? That it's going to be an interactive musician. It'll what I imagine is you have like one of these sort of like Bose Tower PAs.
Right.
It's connected Wi-Fi. You decide how many instruments go into it, and it fills in the rest. And everything is through that. So you bring that to the gig, and you use it as much or as little as you want, and you use it for band practice. And I think it'd be incredible.
Well, for our little band, we lost our.
We'll be out of business.
What? We'll be no.
Get
Well,
rid of us.
Hang on. We lost our keyboard player, Rob Ward. Rest in peace. He's no longer with us.
That's true.
But we have
Let's not bring people down. This was a few years ago, and he was a great guy.
He was a great guy, but his health wasn't great. But he was our keyboard player, and we've never replaced. You had that nice little
SK1
Hammond did a nice little job, but I miss the sound of
that's right.
the organ in the band.
That's right. Well, that's right. Too. Let's say you've got the organ player and he plays great, but you can't stand the guy, and you're like, I want some organ in the band. No, we loved Rob, but I mean, in fact, the people
you say that now.
No, I'm telling you, and anybody who's been in band knows this. The death knell of I'd say 90% of the bands. I haven't been in a bunch of bands, but it's almost guaranteed there is some guy that feels like that they'd be going places if it weren't for everybody else in the band. and he has a very, very healthy fantasy life about what the potential is, right? And where
that was best portrayed by Dwight Yoakam in the movie Sunblade.
Oh yeah. And my feeling is, you don't get paid for anything for it to speak of around here anyway. So it's got to be fun. I'm gonna, I'm not doing it for a living, so it's like the only incentive to do it is for it to be fun. So you've got to have other people that are in the band that are fun, have fun with you.
But the
guy bringing it down has got to go.
The best part I find of playing in a band when things are working is the give and take and the interaction that happens. That's what I'd worry about with AI. If they could replicate that, then I think they will. I think
it'll just be it'll be a matter of so the argument against this would be sort of like a drum machine has quantize or something, or a swing, and it never does it right? But I think that it will advance to the point where it will be it would listen to a musician, and it will process that, like, let's say it, you wanted to sound like so and so as far as style and feel, it'll be able to do that.
I gave you the example.
By giving an example, by processing an audio example of playing.
Yeah, I gave the example of if you could play like Charlie Watts. So if they could copy that, and I guess you're right, what it would do is it would listen to various songs, get an idea like, oh, this is what he's doing, and then replicate it.
Well, I mean, if you even just listen right now to like audiobooks, like YouTube, you'll hear audiobooks that are obviously AI. They're getting better all the time as far as inflection and sort of having the right emotion to whatever in context with the text. So it's going to happen. It's just a matter of processing power and the availability of the processing power to an individual, and also, of course, the ability to program it. But it's coming. I maintain. Now, watch, I'll be totally wrong. But imagine like, so teenage me in the basement trying to figure out DeGueo by listening to it over and over, right, and playing it along to the record, right? Mm-hmm. Great fun, a challenge. But now imagine you can have I mean, celebrities are going to have their licensed version of this as a band member that can teach you. That's a logical conclusion also. So maybe I'm just really optimistic, but and now that probably no one cares about this because there's no product to sell right now with it. But
well, like that's going to change.
It's going to happen. I predict. Okay,
we have to start working on that product. I think
that's right. We'll have to. Yeah, we'll have to start soldering. We know how to solder.
We can do that.
So we can do that. We'll work on the AI portion of it. Okay, we've spent quite enough time on that, I think, but we are now going, Matthew.
What was it time for?
To the Rorschach riffs. You, Matthew, are going to do what you have proven to do very well.
Really?
I would say, and it is meld 4 classic riffs together for me and the audience to decipher into their constituent portions and pieces,
and name that song.
Name those individual riffs
where they come from
that are blended together. And so you need a guitar for this.
I do need the guitar.
I will grab it. It's right up here.
All right.
And we will. You will try to stump me with your Rorschach riffage. Let's have a drum roll. Okay, Matthew. Here's a guitar. And I will tease the audience with this guitar here. This guitar contains a not yet announced product.
New product.
But it is a that's me again. This is the riffage camera. But the pickups in this guitar are the prototype. The final prototype of a soon-to-be announced throwback model of pickups. That's all I'm saying about that. I'll say this. These pickups have a combination of specs that no one else on the planet, other than Throwback, can even claim to attempt to duplicate. And I'm not overstating that.
And we're showing them here in aged nickel.
And they will not. And as long as we are around, that will remain the reality. Okay, all right. So we got to hook you up to a cable.
Need a cable.
All right. Okay, let's see if we have the. Can we hear you, Matthew? Okay. Okay.
I need lots of dirt for this thing.
Oh,
more the better.
More than that. Okay. Is that enough? Can you rearrange yourself there just a little bit so we can see your fingers at play?
Hang on.
And then we'll don't want you to pull a muscle there or anything, but okay. So because the it's possible the position of your fingers there could be a clue for the viewers. Okay, you're not giving anything away there, are you?
No, I'm just warming up a little bit.
Okay.
Sounds nice. Nice guitar.
Okay. Well,
What guitar is this, by the way?
that is a 2004 R7 historic reissue. And I have changed the plastic to black plastic.
Oh.
Yeah. And I replaced the knobs to nicer knobs than what came on the thing. Okay. Nice guitar, though. I'm very pleased with it.
You ready?
Okay. So 4 riffs,
4 riffs.
and I'm going to proclaim that we're all ready.
Okay. Hopefully this goes okay.
Okay. I want to hear that. Go ahead. Sorry. Just go. Okay. Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay, I know. Let me write this down. Sorry. So I probably should. You got to go through it. I got to do it more than once. Otherwise, I just go. Start from the beginning.
I should not. I stopped my own thing. I shouldn't have stopped.
Sorry. Yeah, you can't stop. It's not fair. Okay.
I gave you a little more. I gave you a little more at the end there because that's a pretty basic lick.
Okay.
But there's a tie-in for that. Well, I did that one at the end there.
Yeah. Yes, I know what it is. Technically, it would be called this.
I don't know if I played it too
It would
clean.
technically be called that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. The first one, I'm drawing a blank on, but let's see. Second one, I feel like I know it.
Named after a city in our fair state. Maybe your brother or sister.
By the way, you did see. I know. So by the way, you have already. So the idea of the Rorschach riffs is Matthew does these, but I've been working on a couple in case it's my turn to do it, and both times, including now, you've stolen a riff from it.
I don't know if I have. I don't know. I don't know if you've got. Have I played that one clean enough?
No. You have. So the first one I had Day Tripper in there, and you took that, and now you've taken another one.
This happened again.
Yep.
You got to get. That's why you have to get up there and.
Okay.
You don't. That one. I don't know if I'm playing that one right.
I think you may have done 2 here. Let me see.
Do you want me to do it again?
Okay. No. Okay. Okay. I think I know it. Do the whole series again.
Okay, hang on. Let me move this mic.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now
The last one I you can ask all sorts of
Is
questions.
the
on
last one associated with the third one?
No.
Oh, then I'm thinking of a different song there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the first one's Kiss, right?
First one's Detroit Rock City.
You don't want to. I
Oh.
wanted to get that.
Sorry.
I wanted to get the title. I knew it was Detroit City. I forgot the title.
Sorry.
I thought it was Detroit City Madhouse, and then I was like, yeah, it's Rock City. Shh. Okay, now the
You
second.
can't say that, John. You have to know these songs. Like
I failed that.
you
one,
must have
I
had
guess.
to listen to these. Your
Yeah,
older
well,
brother
no,
playing
I
this.
was not
for
a
you?
big Kiss fan.
But your brother must have been playing that song.
No, none of them like Kiss.
My brother had Destroyer.
No, my neighbor had a bunch of Kiss albums, but no, none of my siblings like Kiss. Okay, so second one is go through them one more time.
Not, I don't do just from the second one.
Just do them all. Okay. That's almost punk.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's punk.
It's interesting too. I saw those guys when they played Detroit for the last time, and the chords just hang out there. It's like a perfect
Yeah.
stadium kind of.
Honestly,
rock
when you
song.
first played it, I thought he's thrown in a punk song. It's
Yeah.
it's like a punk song.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead. Second one. Yeah, that's what he stole from me.
you want to sing that last part, John?
He played guitar.
So who played guitar?
Ziggy played guitar. Okay. First one, Detroit City,
Detroit
Rock City. Second one is The Ocean
right?
by Led Zeppelin, which is the one I was going to had in my Rorschach riffs, Matthew. I had it all
Sorry.
blended together to work.
I'm sorry.
Now that's ruined. Okay, the third one is Ziggy. Is it just Ziggy or Ziggy Stardust by
I think it's Ziggy Stardust.
by David Bowie?
Right.
And the third one, play the third one. I thought
No.
the third one was maybe Boogie for Stew intro to Bring It On Home.
No,
But don't say it.
I won't. You
But
ask
it's
as many
not.
questions as you want.
It is
but
not
I'll
that.
take some dirt off this because this
Okay,
shouldn't be so
okay.
dirty. Now that song generally would be played on a Stratocaster as a clue.
Give me a time period.
Well, okay, this is part of the reason why I did it. The album came out in, I believe, the fall of 1989, and they're going to reissue a deluxe version in November of this album. Artist is still alive.
Fall 19. Give me where's this artist from?
From the UK.
From the UK.
Yeah, still alive. Still touring. It's going to actually be touring this fall.
Is this an artist or a band?
An artist.
So this is a solo artist, if the name I'm looking for.
And they're actually going
Is
to be
this
touring.
solo artist associated with guitar?
Yes, absolutely.
Dang it, I'm drawing a blank. I should know this. And going to be touring.
They're going to be on tour this fall in the
Can
U.S.
you give me a little bit more
they're-
on the guitar there? You get it's quite a bit. Anything? Could be anything. Could keep going.
I can't remember. It's a cover. And that artist.
Okay, to me it sounds sort of like
I like that lick because that's one of the first kind of like, oh, I figured that out on my own, like blues licks that
to me it sounds like
It's I can argue. Look, it's the last track on that record. Came out in 1989.
Baby, please don't go. It sounds kind of like Baby,
It does,
please don't go.
but it's not. It's not that.
Okay. Is there anything more? Give me more. I am determined to know this.
Let's see.
British. This
Person has sold a lot of Stratocasters.
Is this Jeff Beck?
No,
No.
still alive.
Still alive. Eric Clapton?
Is Eric Clapton?
Okay.
So now I have to go through your head. What album did he come out with in '89?
It was From the Cradle from '89?
That was 93, 94. But this album kind of put
this
him
is
back.
the BB King?
No, that was later too. That was after the.
Give me a lyric.
Well, if I sing the first lyric of the song, that's the name of the song.
Give me some other lyric.
Oh, darn it! Take a look at yourself.
Okay. Before you accuse me, take a look at yourself. Yeah. Before you accuse me, that's not his song, is it?
No.
Okay.
I think it was part of his repertoire back in the '70s. But
I'm okay. All right. Yeah, I don't. I associate with him, but I don't. To me, that just sounds like bluesy stuff.
it does. I know it's hard. I threw it in there because, well,
Okay,
it's a tough one.
All right, yeah, that's pretty. Well, let's see if anyone else got that. Okay, I feel let down now.
Sorry.
I didn't get them all.
But there is they're doing a deluxe version of that record. It'll come out at the end of November, and it's on my Spotify. It's countdown, like 60 some odd days from now.
Okay, so Matthew, you have musical musings.
Mm-hmm.
Do we? So should I take the guitar here? Let's
Yes.
get a drum roll here.
Don't drop it.
I'll get the guitar.
Got it.
Okay. All right, you're going to musical, Matthew.
Okay, so so our last episode, I introduced the idea of a archive for vintage instruments.
Oh,
and
the guitar.
The guitar.
Yes.
So think of
How do we work AI into the guitar? You've actually already been working into the guitar. Go ahead.
It's helping. But so the idea behind the guitar, GUIT.
Wait a minute. We don't have our contributory guitar first.
The first. We might have.
I need to go get that. Matthew, you keep him up to date on the guitar. I will run and go get the first edition to the guitar. You set that up.
Okay,
I'll be right back.
Okay, so I'll just let John pass in front of me here. Okay, so the idea behind the guitar, if people didn't watch episode 18, think of it as a arc for vintage instruments and amplifiers and effects and things. We're trying to collect together all of the things that possibly could be destroyed by decay, weather, disaster, geopolitical mayhem. And we want to try to get together two of all these things. We would have a primary site where we're trying to figure out where that would be, and then we would have a secondary site. So the first ideas on our wish list is that we would have a 1950 Broadcaster, a 1954 Stratocaster, 58, 59, 60 Les Paul. So that's on our wish list, and we put that sort of out on last episode, and but we wanted to show the first instrument that was.
Okay, Matthew, I'm back, but I want to make sure that the audience does not have this spoiled for them. So I'm going to.
Well, I was just about. You're right on time. Oh, be careful.
Did you tell them what it is?
No, I didn't tell them what it was. I said we were looking for various sort of vintage instruments, and I was just about ready to introduce it. So I don't know if you want to grab it, but
okay. Well, I've got it here. And Matthew, for such an important guitar, you had 3 guitar cases on top of that.
Well, I was trying to protect it in case anything fell.
How could you do that to the first edition to the guitar?
So the I'm trying to tell the nice viewers that we're looking for examples, and to let people know we would not be owning these instruments.
Of course not.
We would just be the sort of
We
caretakers,
would we'd have to play
custodians.
them to make sure that they worked properly at regular intervals,
Well, there's a whole system for checking.
and we wouldn't be responsible for any drool that we get on them.
No, but they
But
would
we
be.
we'll have a whole system to deal with that.
Yeah, we're working on that. But anyway, we wanted some of these very early, important instruments. But this was the first edition that's been added or been submitted.
Is this right?
It showed up this week.
Does the donor know that? Is this an anonymous donation? We know the donor, but the donor may not be aware that this has been donated.
Well, it's been left here so long, we figured it belongs to us now.
Possession is 9/10 of the law.
Exactly.
And so ownership now reverts to the Guitark.
Guitar, that's what happened to you.
Okay, I don't know what I missed, Matthew, but you just tell me where this goes, and I will follow your lead.
Okay, so we need to see the
Okay.
the
All
first
right.
edition
All right.
to the
All right.
guitar.
This definitely deserves a
Yes,
drum roll.
big drum roll.
Okay, Matthew, you keep it hidden. Keep it hidden there. I think this requires its own reveal. Well, no, it'll be with the Rorschach Riffs camera. But okay, Matthew,
Okay,
you ready?
So this instrument, if we got all those other vintage instruments, it would be spending time with a 1996. Let me just see it there.
Epiphone.
Epiphone Nighthawk.
This is a rare guitar.
This is a rare guitar.
We
This
think.
It was just handmade.
We think
or
it's because
crafted.
no one wanted one. Is that too harsh? It's got a bolt-on
It's
neck.
got a bolt-on neck.
With it now, this is just not any neck plate too. This is actually a pretty nice neck plate. If you look at it, it's a cast with it's like a plaque. It's like a bronze plaque of sorts.
That would stand the test of time. Disaster and everything. People would find that and say,
It's got the tremolo on it.
that's an unusual
Now
thing.
that was donated by Larry McRae's friend Todd Dine, who also works here at Throwback, does our guitar strings and does an essential key step in the aging process of our covers. And the only catch to this is he's not aware he donated it.
He isn't aware, but he'll get,
Well, he is now.
well, he's still the owner of it. though.
Actually, he's on a cruise ship. So
He's actually going out doing some
that's
research.
right. This demonstrates the beauty of the guitar.
You don't.
Still own it,
Yeah, he doesn't lose ownership.
but it's ours.
It's ours, and we'll take care of it. And
But really, who owns a guitar?
exactly,
We're all caretakers.
that's true.
So I mean, that's the whole premise of a guitar ownership anyway. It's not just for you, it's for the enjoyment of you and generations to come, and you are just the noble caretaker of the fine instrument. And as such, it is your responsibility to treat it with respect, so that future guitar players can enjoy it. But as a living, breathing instrument, it must be played.
You have to maintain them.
So you're it. You play that because I'm not touching. But it's so. It's the Nighthawk.
The Nighthawk is the first edition,
Yeah. Okay.
but it needs friends, and that's what we're
Okay.
still asking for. But I'll go over now.
There's more guitar.
There's more guitar news. So
guitar details.
so some of the other things that we're working on.
You're working on a logo. I know we've been disappointed with what we've gotten so far.
Yeah,
Maybe
the
the
logos.
audience is able to do that. What you want a small guitar text and a large arc
Yeah.
capitalized, but one word, and something. Do you want something that has your face on it?
You do, but I don't necessarily want that.
No, no, but it has a guitar-y. But anyway, we'll figure that out. We don't want to put too much pressure on the viewing audience, but should we? Okay, give us more details about this.
So the other things we're working on in the guitar, the things that it would have a guitar research lab. So when an instrument was accepted into the guitar,
Will there be a snack bar?
we'll have a snack bar. Oh, sure.
Okay. Well, we have one of those refrigerators that looks like a Marshall half stack.
I saw one of those last night. I want one of those. We need that. Yes.
We got to have that.
Yeah, those are interesting. But we will also have just to let people know if we're going to have snacks, we will also have an area where you can use like warm water and some nice little soap to keep your hands clean.
Oh.
So we don't want to get any
Okay. Get the Cheetos off
peanut
your fingers.
Cheeto orange all over.
Don't want the snack bar making its way into the. You don't want the pink interior of a Lifton case for a 59 burst, contrasting against Cheetos goo.
No. So we would have this. It would be a research lab, and then in the research lab we would do would be called tone forensics.
I will give an interesting fact.
Hang on.
No, just think about this with the Cheetos.
Cheetos.
Apparently, Neil Schoen lubricates his fingertips with the oil of salami. This is actually true.
This is inside information. This actually goes on.
This actually happens. Our friend in he's in Berkeley. I'm trying to blank on his name, but he's a customer of ours, and I brought him to dinner. I feel terrible about this, and I've been trying to blank on his. It's the pressure of the Guitar Lounge.
Yeah,
but he, I probably mentioned this in a previous episode, but he's longtime friends with Neil Schoen, and he does whenever he goes on tour. He's the guy that he's a well-known guitar player, guitar repairman. Also, he's a great guitar player. The guy I'm talking about, but he does the guitar tech work for him, and I saw a presentation he did about the repair work he does, and he did this as sort of a joke. Well, not a joke, just an interesting fun fact. It was Neil Schoen gets a little basket with salami and puts it on top of his amp when he's performing, and he puts his fingertips in it. And as the amp gets hot, the salami kind of curls up. By the end of the night, you got these curled up pieces of salami, but he uses the oil off the salami as lubricant for his fingers on the fretboard.
I found that very interesting.
And he said it does not make his guitar smell like salami, but it's apparently true. He showed pictures and photos and everything to confirm this rumor.
He must have it down to a precise science that his fingers aren't too greasy, but it's helping with his playing. It doesn't interfere. I found that interesting.
Okay, sorry, I sidetracked you on the guitar.
Okay, so
the Cheeto. My point with this is,
we won't be
the Cheetos. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? If Neil Schoen can have salami-coated fingers on his expensive guitars, why can't we play the guitars in the guitar with Cheetos-encrusted fingers?
Because we've signed a contract sworn that we will not do that.
If it's good enough for Neil Schoen, what makes him so different than you and me, Matthew? I don't know.
If we got any of Neil Schoen's guitars, we would put them in a separate area, and then you wouldn't have to worry about
he'd have
washing your hands.
He'd have his own favorite snack.
So the first stop in the guitar would be the Tone Forensics Lab, and then there we would take sound samples of the guitar and store them. So we would have, if anything was lost, and we'll put those in the cloud too. So that we'll have like examples of like, this is what a 1950 broadcaster sounds like, and this is what the neck pickup sounds like, et cetera, et cetera. And then we're going to have a archive. So that'll be a room for a digital archive and a public portal, so we can interact with people around the world. And then there's a heritage program.
I thought of a good idea.
Go ahead.
Just now. They say tone is in the fingers.
Right.
This is the next AI thing. We will have virtual AI fingers. It will duplicate the tone of them. We will have virtual fingers of the most famous guitar players in the world. Go on with the guitar, but that's next. We're not talking anything morbid here. AI will produce a robotic virtual finger. I predict in the future, and that, of course, will be a part of the guitar.
That would be interesting. We'll combine the guitar, so we'll be the old and the new, and we could have the AI in the forensic lab. So we would have all these famous guitar players come, and we would have to
we could profile their fingers,
because that's actually smart.
Tones in the fingers. With profile, the guitar will also have a finger profile bank.
Well, they're already doing that in Hollywood. I think they're recording all the voices of all these actors and the facial movements and everything. They're storing all.
We
stuff.
we need to trademark and copyright and patent all this.
Yes, trademark. 2025.
Trademark guitar, finger tone profile. Oh my gosh, there's so much work to do.
There's a lot. So I'll just throw a couple things at you. We're working on a nickname for the guitar, and we're going to call it the Svalbard of Sound.
Oh,
named after the Svalbard Seed Bank.
Bank.
That's we're kind of taking their idea.
Sure.
To Global Seed Bank in Norway. We're going to do this as a global vintage guitar bank.
Okay. All right. Is there more, Matthew? We want to say
too much more, but I think
you
we
want to
say
say more.
some.
You got to save the guitar for it's about the future.
It's about the future.
The future for all of us.
Oh,
You can't pack this into one episode.
There's too much. And a coming episode. Where the heck is my notes? Oh, here it is. Here, a coming episode. I want to do. I'm trying to get John to participate in a book club for Throwback. But maybe I'll be doing that on my own. But I've got a book, and I'll tell people.
I don't want to. I'm the kind of guy that only likes books where I can finish. When I'm done, I know I've learned something that I can apply to in real life right now.
Well, in an upcoming
I love manuals.
episode, it'll probably be in October. I'm going to do a review on the book on the band The Cars, and it's coming out on the 30th of September. It's called Let the Stories Be Told by Bill Janovitz.
All right.
It's supposed to be a good book.
Okay. Well, that'll be future in your musical musings future. Thanks for watching. Matthew, any final thoughts?
Nothing. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks for watching.